Yeah, Roger, when we spoke last night at the end, you was a mixture of emotions, a bit concerned about where Eric was going to go, but we're a day down there. How are you feeling today?
A little bit better. I've been rehearsing all day with the support act for tomorrow night, which is Liam Gallagher, Noel Gallagher, Paul Weller and Kelly Jones and myself, so that's going to be a really interesting event. We're going to be doing something acoustic. I think I'm going to be doing a solo Who Are You, just accompanying myself on an acoustic, and then we're going to attempt to do a chug-along version of Magic Bus, so that's going to be fun. I suddenly realised what it was, I think, why I was so nervous last night, and I think it only kind of occurred to me when Coldplay finished their act, because when I call everybody up, I tell them how special this night is, and that they'll have a great time. It's really special. Honest, it's really special, and because last year was, it was such a special event last year and the year before, and of course, before it all starts, subconsciously you're wondering, well, will it really be special? And last night, just again, it was special. It was just one of those fantastic nights. Coldplay, I think his songs are wonderfully structured. I mean, they're a great band, great performer. They put on a great show. The crowd were off their seats. They're like, to me, they're going to be around for a very, very long time. It's like watching U2 when they started and where they are now. You can see that's the kind of position that Coldplay are going to be taking, hopefully without the pomp and circumstance, in another 20 years. Looking forward to tonight because the original lineup for tonight was Mark Knopfler and Eric Clapton, and unfortunately poor Mark, trying to avoid a congestion charge that we've got in London of £5, rides a motorbike, and unfortunately he had a terrible accident and has broken his collarbone and 6 ribs, which must be incredibly painful. And so we've had a whip round and we're going to send him a bus pass to help him out a bit. No, seriously, I mean, I was really looking forward to hear Knopfler play alongside, not alongside Clapton, but in the same evening, because they're just two very distinct styles, and I think two of the best guitarists in the world. It would have been a great night, but amazingly, to our rescue comes the wonderful Nigel Kennedy, who, for those who don't know, is an absolute virtuoso violinist who's classically trained, and he does a lot of kind of very modern improvised rock jazz stuff with a kind of 7-piece band, and he's put that together for us tonight. And again, it's another completely different facet of music that's going to, I think, really work well with the Eric Clapton set that I know he's playing tonight, which is the rock and roll set that he does, which is good down home, stand up and yell rock and roll. So that, I think that'll be a very interesting evening. And I feel a bit more relaxed tonight. Still not settled, but last night was such a blast, and again, it just reinforces my belief in human nature. You know, when we all pull together with something, it makes it that extra bit special, which makes it magical. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for the rest of the week.
How are you feeling about going on stage yourself tomorrow after a couple of months rest?
Actually, I'm a bit nervous about it, but I'll just get out there and do it. I mean, I wish Pete was with me. He'd be with me in my heart. But I'll do it for him.
And John, and Keith.
And John and Keith, they're always with me. I went on the stage last night when they were striking it, and they struck it, and the hall was empty, and a few guys were fiddling around with the PA just doing adjustments. And I just stood on the spot that John was on his last show here, just had a few minutes to myself there and thought about the year, and it was nice. And he was there with me. It was great.
It's weird because Nigel was downstairs playing violin to the kids just now, and someone reminded him of the show he did when he came on did Barbara O'Reilly, and he said, "I just cannot believe the Ox isn't here." And then, like, everyone is just missing him so much.
Yeah.
And it's just this occasion as well is just bringing it all back to people.
Well, I miss him because he was the only guy I've ever known with that really dark sense of humour. Very, very black humour, but always incredibly witty. I've got such great memories. It's not as painful as Keith was, and maybe it's because I'm older, and maybe because I could kind of see John coming. I could read it in his body. And I feel pretty good about it because the last thing I said to him when I left him was, "I love you." So I feel good about it.
I think it's a measure of how much the Teenage Cancer Trust means to you is that you're actually missing another big night tonight. There's somewhere else I'm sure you're driving.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here, and Arsenal, who's the team I support, are in the quarter-final replay against Chelsea, this dreadful South London side. And here I am at the concert because this is more important even than my football team. But so there you go. But fingers crossed we'll win that tonight, and it'll make it a really great night.
Anyway, before you make the bars, I've been given the job of just trying to tell you a little bit about the charity and why we're really here. Because I noticed this is the Krusties night. Everybody's my age, and well, it looks like it anyway. Well, most of you anyway, well, a lot of you. And I turned 59 the other week, and I'm thinking, what a great life that I've had, thanks to teenagers supporting my business. And I've been very, very fortunate. All my children have got through being teenagers, and they've got through it okay. But I've got to tell you, parents out there that don't know, if you thought that there wasn't a children's hospital in your area, you'd be outraged. If you thought there wasn't an adolescent hospital in your area, you would be outraged. Well, you should be. If it was a geriatric unit, if there wasn't one, you'd be outraged. Well, let me tell you that for teenagers in our National Health Service, they barely exist as a group. And I feel that in today's society, when there's whole sections of our economy given over to just focusing on teenagers as a group with special needs, it is an absolute disgrace that in the National Health Service they haven't recognised that teenagers exist. And cancer at that age is the most virulent, nasty, horrible disease you can ever get. It acts much faster when you're a teenager than at any other time in your life. You're going through hormonal changes, psychological changes, and it is a desperate time when teenagers really need an awful lot of support. And the Teenage Cancer Trust supplies that support by building units within our National Health Service. We don't provide any medicine. The National Health Service does that to their credit, and all the doctors and the nurses, to their credit, they're fantastic. The bureaucracy and the politicians, forget it. And I am outraged by it, and I am determined that we can change it. We can really change it. This charity, with 30 million quid, would actually do the job that this country needs. And we lead the world in this. We are the leaders in the world. It's not much we lead the world in these days, but we are leading the world in this. And I'm determined that we can get this done. We need the minimum of 20 units around the country. We've now got 7, and I'm opening one in Liverpool next week, which we paid for 2 years ago at the Albert Hall here. And thank you. So we've got still quite a long way to go, but £30 million is not a lot of money in today's world, and in health terms it's peanuts. That will build every unit that we need, and it would fund them for 5 years. And I would just like to say to you, find out in your area whether you've got this facility, and if you haven't and you're a parent, find out why, demand it, and write to your MPs. Let's get these politicians off their arses and stop giving us figures about what they're spending. Let's make sure it's spent in the right areas and not the wrong ones. These youngsters, this should not be a privilege, it should be a right, and we can change it. We are the people, not them up there. Yeah. Anyway, all the best. Eric will be on in a minute, and thanks for supporting us. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Teenage Cancer Trust, we'd just like to present to Roger Daltrey a little plaque in grateful thanks for what he and the WHO have done for Teenage Cancer Trust and teenagers suffering from cancer and malignant diseases for the last few years. If you cut Roger in half, I think instead of Brighton Rock, you'd see Teenage Cancer Trust. Roger, we cannot thank you enough. This is just a little thank you from all of us, and it says, presented to Roger Daltrey in recognition of his untiring support for Teenage Cancer Trust. And it was actually donated by Harry and Stephanie Alberts. Roger, thank you so much indeed on behalf of all us.
And these are the guys that started it, so they deserve a huge round of applause. Myrna and Adrian Watson.